touching lives one person at a time.
Welcome to Family Matters. My name is Minister Joy Starkey, and I'll be your host. Today we're going to be discussing the balancing act. So many of us are a jack of all trades, but we're masters of none. And in God's word, in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1, it says that a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. And so we are going to be talking with several powerful women here on our show today. We're going to be hearing from an entrepreneur and a staple in the community. We're also going to hear from a very established woman in the marketplace and also a mother and wife of many years. And we're going to hear from Sister TONISHA, who is also newly married and an influencer in her profession. I wanted to talk about how to balance work life. Let's discuss work. How do we balance, and what are some of your experiences with kind of juggling life and work and everything else? If we can hear from you, Sister Sharon.
Sure. Well, I've been blessed to have my own business, and I'm able to have my own hours and able in the morning time to be home with my son. And by the time he gets home from school, I'm able to be there as well. And with that being said, now that I've become saved, I have realized the blessing that it is to be able to have that type of flexibility. So in that sense, God has definitely, truly blessed me.
That's awesome. And what about you, Minister Thomas, Minister Wendy?
Well, I would say that, I work a 9 to 5. I'm not as blessed as my sister, but it's there are times when it's a big heckling. It's like you're playing balls. You have to fling one up and catch the other one while you're flinging it to juggle a lot of things. So I would say, you have your ups and downs. What I've tried to do majority of my time is after work, I get a little 10 minutes before I go into the house, before I start my mother and wifely duties. So I get 15 minutes of it to de-stress myself from work. And I've noticed that the 15-20 minutes just in the car unwinding from the stress of the job so I don't bring it to the family, that seems to work for me. Where I just take that little time before I go in the house and say, hey, I've arrived, and start up that job. So, I've learned I've learned to balance that out a little bit.
Those are some great points from each of you. I'd also like to hear from Sister TONISHA.
Well, my way of balancing work is prayer. I pray when I get there. I pray before I get there. And after work, my other thing I do is I listen to the gospel music. It gets me unwind. It gets me through the rest of my day before I pick up the kids. So that's how I balance out my day of work and before I have to pick up kids.
Those are some great points that I think all of us can glean from as it relates to being a woman, being a mother, being a professional, and trying to manage that sector of our lives. Now let's talk about home, because we know that could be something completely different.
Right.
Sister Sharon, how do you deal with home life? How do you balance being a mom and also a working professional and entrepreneur?
Well, and being a single mother, which is probably the most complicated. But I think with the grace of God, he's allowed, I asked for discernment and wisdom. That's the one thing I asked for when I got saved. Like, this is a tough road. Being a single parent of a boy child is not easy. But I'm happy to say that God has shown me a way. And I take every day as it comes. And more importantly, I know that he has me. So I take every day for what it is, and I just flow with it.
Like that.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
What about you, Minister Wendy?
I am married with two wonderful sons. So at times it can be a little hectic for the simple fact when I go in the house, everybody wants my attention. My husband wants my attention. My kids want my attention. One has to tell me about his day. So what I've done, what I'll say to them, everybody I have to do one step at a time and give everybody that one-on-one time. But one of the things that in pertaining to the family, the household, what I've done is I've created different system pertaining to Monday to Thursday is now fully the time that, everybody has to go to get their work, their school, and their stuff together. But on Friday afternoons, we have created a family night. That's the time when we sit down, unwind, most of where we sit down and watch TVs, have pizza. The new thing in the household now is the tacos. They love their tacos. So we take that opportunity and, it's a sit down talk, watch a movie, bring the family in as one accord back. Because, Monday, Sunday you have church, Saturday is the only day you're running up and down doing everything, Monday to Thursdays. At times it can be crazy. And in the midst of that, we have ministry, a lot of things going on. And then ironically, in my household, there are 2 ministers in the household. My husband also is a minister. So it can be a little bit of a juggling between the both of us and the kids at times.
Wow. That, I can't even imagine. Well, yes, I can, because I'm in the same position. So I totally understand where you're coming from in that respect. Now, Sister Tonisha, share, if you could, some of the ways that you balance home life.
Well, basically, by the time I get off of work, I have enough time, so I'm already winding down before I pick up my kids. And I was blessed with a girl and a boy. So that being said, I pick up my son first, and then I take the time and I wait for my daughter to come off her bus. And once I get home, before I get home, they've already told me about their days, so they're out the way. That's Monday through Friday. But Sunday, the way we do it, we spend time with each other all together on Sundays, because that's the only time we have for each other. So Sundays, we with each other all day Sunday, and we spend our time with each other on Sundays instead of Monday through Friday.
Wow. Now, I just want to say, I know, we've had a series of questions here, and I don't really want to run through them, but I don't want to bore you either. But I wanted to add how important it is to have the balance between work, home, and ministry or church, because the enemy is running rampant, and he is desperately trying to destroy as many families as he can. So it is our job as women, we are the intercessors. We keep our homes together. So it's our responsibility to cover and make sure that we don't have a crack, an opening to allow him not even one foothold. So balance is so key. Now, let's talk about ministry. So here we have a work week, Monday through Friday. Saturday, we're busy with running errands and keeping up the house and taking care of everyone. Now we have ministry on Sunday. Well, let me also add that ministry is not just a one-day thing. This is a lifestyle. But when we go to church, we worship on Sunday, that plays a big part of our life, because now this is a part of the lifestyle. So we have to incorporate that in our weekly living. So Sister Sharon, if I could hear from you on some of the ways you balance all 3, work, home, and ministry.
Well, first I would like to say it's incredible how a lot of times people don't understand how important ministry is. In my life, I have a teenage son who, Mom, can we just stay home this Sunday? Can we do something else? No, ministry comes first. Because at the end of the day, God has blessed me with a wonderful son, and I got to give back to the Lord, number one. And I think it's complicated for children, especially to understand that. He just thinks, oh, we got to go to church again. But it's top priority. As far as my home is concerned, I think when you put God first, and when you reach that level where you put your trust in him, everything he gives you, everything, it's just my basic duty to give back to God. And so it's really simple for me in that aspect, that I give back to God first. That's number one.
Okay. Awesome. And what about you, Minister Wendy?
In the 3 aspects, I think mine's a little bit more complicated for the simple fact I have a lot of other things going on. During the weeks, I have classes teaching. Sundays we have Bible study. Tuesdays we have Bible Sunday services. We're getting ready, studying. It's a lot of, it's a lot of things going on at one time. Now my oldest son is playing football. Then I have another son. It's like we have to prioritize. We have to see what is more important over the other things. And right now, the first thing on my list is to balance everything, ministry. And when I say that, ministry is in my household. It's a part of my household because that's a part of my kids, keeping them together. That is actually the first ministry. Because if my household is not together, we're totally off. Because that's the focus point of us, is when we have our house together, that we can come to church and then we can have a good time.
Girl, you better say that.
Because we're not binding or, holding up anything. So every part of it, the work pays the money for the bills so that we can come and pay our tithes. So every part of it works together. It's like a 3-4, the family, the work, and the ministry. All of that is the ministry. Again, as you stated earlier, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, literally. So what we do and how we just have to prioritize. And just as my sister said, ministry is always first.
Yeah.
It intertwines into everything.
Yep. That's wonderful. I mean, this conversation, I don't know if you guys are being encouraged, but I am, because this is so key. This is so important. Whether you are saved, which we are, and it would behoove you to be if you're not. If you don't know the Lord as your personal Savior, I encourage you to get to know Him. And even if you are not a Christian, you still have to live life,
right,
and you still have to balance life.
Right.
So all of these tips are key. Sister TONISHA, I would like to hear from you on how you manage the three, and then we're going to talk about another hot topic.
Minister Joy, I gotta say, I ditto on my sister Sharon and sister Wendy. It's the same thing. It's the ministry in the house. It's bringing the Christian in the house first.
Yeah.
And balancing out everything else balance out on its own.
Right.
Amen.
Instead of trying to not do it individually. Exactly. So in that being said, I echo on both of them of what they say. The ministry start in your house first.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I would like to throw another question out here, and this will be our final question for today. Boy, we had so many others on the list, but it got so good, right?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so the last question I want to talk about is, what are some of the successes or tips that you can share with other women? And what are some of the obstacles that you faced? Some of the, we all have highs and we have lows. And the point is, from those lows is to learn mistakes and ways to do it better. So what are some tips that you can share with our listeners as to success that you had in balance? Sister Sharon.
The biggest success, or the most important success, is trusting God. That has been crucial to my salvation. If you put God first, I think we're good to go. As far as my challenges, I think my challenge would be keeping God first, because sometimes I get lost.
I like that.
I get lost. But thank God for grace.
Right,
Isn't it a
right,
beautiful thing?
right.
Isn't it a beautiful
Yes,
thing, Grace?
yes.
Okay, you, Minister Wendy.
When you say obstacles, I thought about it when you said, what would be the obstacle? I think my biggest obstacle when getting really to spend a lot of time with my kids. I think that would, and my husband, because as you know, they're growing up faster and quick. Time is really advanced, and the time that I spend with them, because oh God, it's a lot of things, especially being new minister, and we're learning, and we have cell groups going on right now. One of my success that I would say is really truly learning how to apply my time evenly to everything.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Learning how to evenly
Apply my
distribute
time.
and apply time. Time management. Huge. What about you, Sister TONISHA?
My obstacle is prayer. That's it. It's starting with prayer first, with everything.
So that's one of the tips that you would offer.
Yes.
And what is one of the challenges that you have experienced?
My challenge was people coming against me. That was one of my challenges. People coming against me, and what I would say is don't allow that. Don't allow the enemy to step in and come against you at any time, because as long as you got God first, they can't defeat you.
Amen.
These were some wonderful tips and wonderful strategies as to how to live a balanced and well-balanced life. I wanted to admonish you. I want to encourage you, ladies. We've heard about prayer. We've heard about spending time, having time management. We've learned about the importance of blocking out negative influencers. I want to encourage you, if you don't do anything else today, ladies, I want you to take a step back, look at what you're doing, and think about some ways that you can apply some of these tips and some of the stories that have been shared today to your life. And watch God. If you apply God's word, and if you trust him, and if you take a minute to tweak some things, I promise you can do nothing but succeed. Thank you for joining us today. This is Family Matters, and I'm your host, Minister Joy Starkey.